Record has been hit.
I think Barry's back. It's gonna be a good one, guys.
This is gonna be good.
It's gonna be nice. It's Borat. Play it, Terry.
Here we go. Starting now. Ever not Borat? How can it be Borat every time?
There are skills certain people have, and there's skills that certain people don't have. And I don't have a Noah Hank impersonation skill. You would think after almost, four seasons of 8 episodes each, you think that skill would be somewhat taught. But no, apparently I'm a dumb, for a better word.
We have a particular set of skills, and that is not one of yours. Anyways, yeah. This is the Almost Sideshow. We're here talking Barry episode by episode. And yes, as we were getting started, as we were off air, Barry's back, because now we're back to what we know and love. And
just in the future.
Just in the future. We'll talk about it, but
yeah.
It's interesting. It's interesting for sure. Definitely back to being intense.
Yeah.
I'm Terry. He's Adam. We're having fun. After we've got an hour of Barry left, and I have no idea what's going to happen. But we'll talk about
that perspective. That makes it sad.
Right. But we'll talk about that more at the end. Now it's time to talk about this episode.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's just hop into this. Season 4, Episode 6. This is entitled The Wizard. I don't really know why, but it's entitled The Wizard.
Yeah, I was trying to pick up the reference. Couldn't figure it out.
I don't know. Okay, so here's what happened. Barry is getting ready to go kill Jean because it's either that or they take John to an orphanage and kill themselves. He gets Sally ready for him to be gone. She now knows how to assemble a gun, and John is beside himself, wanting him to stay. When he refuses to do anything but cry while his dad is gone, Sally gives him a little of her vodka, which knocks him out. Then she starts hearing voices. The house gets hit by a truck, and she is losing it. Fuchs is getting out of prison. Now is a tatted up prison badass, the Raven, with sidekicks, live wire, and groove tube.
Oh, yeah.
He heads straight to the headquarters of Mega Corporation Nohobal, where Hank sets him up with a sweet house and puts him and his men on the payroll. Really, all Fuchs wants is Barry dead. Having a nice meal, Fuchs mentions how awesome Hank turned out to be, even willing to have Cristobal killed. When Hank is unsuccessful trying to convince him of a different story, Hank pulls the plug on everything and tells Fuchs to get out. Now, Jean. Turns out he is actually in town to try and kill the movie. Let it lie. Don't bring back bad memories for a quick buck. Yeah, it's a different Jean. He visits Leo, who is still alive.
Yeah, shocked. Yeah.
And understandably wants very little to do with him again. And is skeptical of it all again. Barry has been following him the whole day, trying to find a pastoral podcast that would condone his actions.
I love it. Find persistence there, kids. Persistence. Find something that messes with your perception.
When he approaches Jean's house at night with an open door, he is snatched and finds himself now before one Jim Moss. Adam, I see your...
Uh-oh. Was that my internet or yours?
I don't know which one it was. Oh, it looks like it was mine.
Okay.
Hold on. It's coming back. All right. Did you hear the whole... Yeah, you heard the whole thing. Okay.
I heard the whole thing that you said, but what was the question you're about to ask me?
All right. Adam, I see that you are happy once again, according to your banner.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us what you thought of this episode.
It was pretty good. It was pretty
Pretty good.
nice. Yeah. I want to do the no Hank, but I don't want to disappoint myself.
It's pretty good.
And our
Just
couple
don't
listeners.
say nice. He never
pretty.
says nice.
That is true. Dang it! Common flaw was my. Oh, okay, well, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. There we go. I got it now.
It still's Borat.
Yeah, damn it. I'll shut up now. Well, my impersonation of myself is it's a pretty good episode. It's a pretty good episode. So I really like this one. There's obviously some things that are trippy and weird, and man, there's some really cool moments in here. I like seeing that we're getting our perspective, or like everybody's like back in the groove of things. Some people have changed over the course of the years, but no Hank is still Hank, and I really missed that after that episode. I kind of called the last shot. I was watching with my wife, and I was like, "Oh, there's one guy they're having," and she's like, "Who?" And I said, "Watch," and it happened. I was like, "Yes!" That was awesome little setup, and oh my goodness, what's gonna happen next? Yeah, so I think some people, yeah, I don't know. Somebody's gonna die next episode. I'll just say that, but we'll go from there.
You kind of get the feeling something's gonna happen like that. Yeah. This episode, it's a good
cool
episode.
Stuff in here.
There's a lot of cool stuff in here. It's back, like I said last episode. Barry's never steered us wrong. It was gonna come back. It was gonna do something cool. I don't know. I feel like we're not gonna get the ending we wanted, but it's gonna be pretty good. It's gonna be pretty good.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Because it still doesn't feel quite right. And maybe it'll all work itself out, but I feel like there's still some holes into what actually happened, what's going on. The ending I felt was, I don't know, it didn't feel, I didn't like the ending. I didn't. But he ends up in front of Jim Moss. I'm like, what are we to believe he's been following him around for 8 years?
Yeah.
Kind
of weird that he left his door
waiting
open
for him to slip up again. Yeah, is Gene in on this whole thing again? I mean, it just felt way too convenient that we're gonna do this again. I mean, and he's gonna fall for the same trick again that Jim Moss lays for him again. It's a
good point.
Just way too convenient of an end to the episode to set up this showdown. I mean, it's going to be a great showdown, and there were some really interesting showdowns that happened in here, but it's going to be good. It could have been great and amazing, but this whole time jump is still throwing me for a loop, and
it's a little weird.
I feel like it's something where if I had been binging this and watched like all 8 episodes in 4 hours, I'd feel a lot differently about it, because you get the instant satisfaction of, oh, here's where they fill in this plot point, and here's where they fill in this plot point, and here's where they fill in this one. We're not getting that right now because we have to wait.
Yeah, for the first time in our sideshow history, the disappointment of watching it every week has hit us.
Yes. Well, I don't know. This one just...
It's not really disappointment. It's just kind of like, oh, what's going to happen? How are they going to tie it?
I feel like it's for an episodic show. They're really hoping, or they're really playing the long game here, in putting all the pieces together. Which it doesn't. I don't know. You need a little more than that. Or maybe not. I don't know. My initial thought was it's good, but I still don't understand why we had to do this time jump.
Mm-hmm.
It still doesn't quite make sense.
Definitely. Yeah. I agree. I think it would have been kind of interesting. I don't care for him at all, really. And it just seems like Sally, which we were just praising as having this great arc and having a really solid season, has kind of fallen off a cliff, really. And just become quite miserable.
That character just in general, yeah, she's just destroyed. I saw an article headline today. I don't think I can find it again. Let me see if it'll pop up. but it read something along the lines of no story about abuse has been told quite like Sally Reed's. Like that's an interesting way of looking at it, and just how, I mean, you put her story in totality of how you go back to her and Sam coming out of that, going to Barry, then having to kill a guy attacking her, then running and then, you know, taking that into abusing a friend verbally, and then running off with a guy who's escaped from prison, so they're constantly on the run, someone who kind of has abused her in some ways throughout the whole time. And no wonder she is who she is.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And she is completely fallen apart. Okay, which let's get into this, because she is the center of my best scene, and she might be yours as well. The whole attack, where, you know, John's passed out on the couch. She goes and lies her head down. She starts hearing voices. She sees nobody. Then there's this creepy guy in all black right behind her that's just kind of following her. And then it looks like goes in the room with her, but locks her in. And then the house gets run over by a truck. All the furniture gets thrown around. And I'm wondering.
You hear that the kid's dead?
Well,
they said the kid's dead, but then,
I don't know. I'm wondering how much of that was real. Was that all in her head? Was that all of her demons coming back to haunt her? And I almost felt like her looking back on the house completely destroyed. I mean, was this like a Leo and Jonah Wolf of Wall Street Quaaludes moment where she felt like, you know, everything's fine, and then she goes in the room, and when she comes out, everything's trash, because that's how everything actually is with her in this state by herself. And what happens when all of her demons are haunting her? Or is this what's his name, Bevel from the last episode, coming back to get her because he lost his job because of her? It could be either one. I like the idea that it's all in her head, that this was a complete mind game, and it's just she doesn't know how to cope with her own self right now.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that scene is really crazy, because I was like, wait, wasn't he in the room with her? That's how I thought it was playing off, but it's shot so interestingly and in a weird perspective as well. And it could be definitely all in her head. The whole setup to the whole scene of the feeding that kid alcohol, that was like, really, we went, but at the same time, is if you have that disconnection with a kid, that might be like, how do I get this kid to kind of sleep for a little bit, or leave me alone for a little bit, and kind of the best way that she knows how, in a way.
Well, and she's that impaired. She's that disconnected from reality at the moment.
That's true. Yeah, even more.
Yeah.
So
and like, even when she's in the room, like the room almost tips upside down at one point, and there's a hole in the. I mean, it just felt off. I don't know about that one.
It's definitely weird.
But it was really well shot, really well done.
Yeah, definitely.
What did you have for best scene?
Well, that wasn't my best scene, but I gotta go with Fuchs, man. His reemergence.
That was the other one I had written down.
I was like, look at this tatted buff guy. My wife's like, that he's not buff. he's just like has that confidence to him, and he got the tattoo of ravens everywhere. I loved it. And then him and Groove Tube and Livewire. They go, I wish there was the beignet shop. That would have been even better. And pick up on that girl.
See the return of Mitch.
Yeah, but pitched up with that. He's like, how's it going? Basically, and then they're all in the car together. Loved it. Fuchs' intro in this scene is awesome, and
I
Fuchs is
found myself.
Yeah, any scene with Fuchs was really great in this episode.
Oh yeah, he's so
embodied the
cool at
Raven.
this point. Yeah.
Because basically he got all the prison inmates to like be on his side, so it's like, yeah, he kind of had a free ride. It seemed
My
like
body tells the story of my journey. I turn my pain into pleasure. I mean,
that's a great line. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the other one I'd written down because that whole sequence is just awesome, and that was the only way that he could emerge from that. Is looking like that and acting like that. Like, yep,
just be a badass. Yeah.
That's the Fuchs we know. That was awesome. That was awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
The Fuchs bag. The Fuchs bag douchebag. Want me to go first?
Yeah, go first.
I'm going with Pastor Nick St. Angelo that says sometimes it's okay to kill. Because he just did 10 to 20 for killing a guy. And I don't know if you recognized it right away, but I recognized it right away.
Bill Burr.
If Bill Burr is voicing a pastor, you know that pastor's a douchebag.
I noticed it right away. I was like, it's that guy. It's just my wife's like, who? I'm like, Bill Burr. It's like the guy from Mandalorian. That's what he's good in Mandalorian though. He is
good in Mandalorian, but that's what he pops up in Breaking Bad. We're gonna have to watch that at some point.
Yeah.
He's got Breaking Bad in there. Yeah, but yeah, he's the douchebag because yeah. I felt like when he checked me into the boards, God was giving me his blessing.
Yeah. And it's great because he's like, yeah, you know what? If Bill Burr says it, yeah, I think it's my truth as well. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's all I needed. Okay, we're good.
Okay, thank you. That's a good one. I really like that one. Would Sally be considered a kind of a Fuchs bag for the alcohol scene because that's kind of her?
Yeah.
For that, yeah, but that's what
she's damaged, but it doesn't fix what she did
because you could
condone the actions. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I had wrote down. In a way, I think Noah Hank, he's not really a douchebag, but he was definitely trying to like change the perspective of what actually happened. But Fuchs is like, no, I know what you did. Another guy's like, oh, I was there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was there.
Oh,
so
there for what was it? The NoHo silo or what is that? What it was called?
Silo,
NoHo hourglass.
NoHo
hourglass. Yeah.
So that is that's another part. Hank could be considered a Fuchs bag, kind of minorly, because he was trying to like, in a way, well, no, that's not what happened. I did not kill Cristobal. I did not. And in a way, if we're splitting hand, yeah, he didn't. But there was no really option.
Fuchs is saying you had him killed, and then he turns around and names his company NoHo Ball.
Yeah.
In honor of Cristobal and his partnership.
Cristobal, all his art stuff. Yeah, that's a pretty big move. Yeah.
I'd say he's a douchebag.
And he's trying to justify it by, telling himself, I didn't do it. It was his,
It was our rivals. Our rivals killed him.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
No, man, you had him killed. We all know about it. Everyone knew about it inside.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah. I wonder how Fred Armisen's character is doing in prison. That would be a good, interesting, like post-credit sequence.
Yeah.
Half a hand.
Fingers, yeah.
Half a hand, yeah.
My hand is messed up. Yeah, that would be. We gotta see him come back at some point. I'm upset we haven't seen Mitch back yet. Mitch and the Beignets have to make some sort of appearance, not to mention some other characters too. Anyway, speaking of Mitch, Stickman Award for this episode.
It's Fuchs.
It's Fuchs. I mean,
dude,
did he
27 minutes out of the clink, man, he already had somebody on his finger. Like
did he know that lady, or did he just meet her in the coffee shop and all of a sudden she's riding with him?
He oozed swagger. He
He
oozed it.
He was oozing something.
He was oozing the
It
Raven.
was oozing out of all those prison tats.
I wonder if they were set. Anyway,
the Raven on his
The
coffee
Raven.
cup. Yeah, no, he's the stick man for sure.
World's greatest Raven.
World's greatest Raven. All right, hey, that's John Hamm. Best New Face award goes to
Bill Burr, easily.
Bill Burr. How I had another one too
Okay.
because Bill Burr was the last pastor he listened to.
Oh,
The second pastor
pick up
was James Austin Johnson, who's SNL's new impressionist extraordinaire. Like he's the guy who does Donald Trump and Joe Biden and all those impressions. And I saw his name in the cast list for that episode. I'm like, who was he? And I looked up. Yeah, he was the second pastor.
Nice.
That
Okay.
dude is amazing. Like
Nice,
his
that's cool.
impressions are spot on. And I think he's just kind of doing his own thing, and I didn't recognize him because you never hear his actual voice. But when I saw that he was in there, I'm like, yep, that's awesome. That is awesome.
That's pretty good. That's one thing I was kind of thought it was funny, like bringing back to like the last episode. They were like all watching that Sunday morning like televangelist.
Televangelist, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, well, we can't. I'm not sure if that was a real like actual televangelist, but like, well, we kind of interesting. They actually brought somebody in like a Joel Osteen just to do that one, like get the rights to just a one scene or something like that. Yeah, very interesting. But yeah,
I'm sure they filmed their own thing.
Yeah, and made it their own too because it could have their own royalties. But yeah, I think that's a good call. I didn't know many of the other like pastors, but there was some really fun. My favorite part though about the whole listening to the podcast is that when he's like buying the ammo, he's like, he's like, what? I'm legally have to show you these images. All right. And he just turned
okay, thanks. Yeah.
Thanks. And he's like, he was like, oh, should I return it? No. Let's flip in the next podcast.
I thought the first pastor kind of sounded like the guy who plays Ned Ryerson in Groundhog Day.
Ned Ryerson.
I thought that sounded like him. His name's like Steve Toporowski or something like that. Something. Anyways, I thought it sounded like him, but it wasn't. The first one was like the show's composer. I think I saw in an article, something like that. Anyways, those voices were fun to hear for sure. All right, another character we need to hear from at some point before the end of this is the namesake of the next award, the Jermaine favorite minor character. We need some Jermaine and some Nick before this whole thing wraps up. We can't just go without those two guys for the entire last season.
I would love for it to be like someone random, like they hit it big on like they get their 1 hour comedy special on HBO, and they're like even if it's Gene just watching HBO and it comes on, it's like,
that's all I need. That is all I need. If we have that, I'll be happy.
And it's like I think I know those guys. I can't place it though. just like Gene just not remember it. That would be kind of funny.
The #1 comedy show in Mexico.
Yeah.
All right. Who's your favorite minor character?
Favorite minor. I think the guy that's like, yeah, I was there for the hourglass show. That he's like that, like the very agreeable guy at the dining room table with Fuchs and no Hank, but also the Man in Black is also very creepy, like horror themed vibes. I kind of like when I was watching, I was like kind of watching it play out. Then also it was like, oh, it kind of startled me for a second because I was kind of like, my TV's right here, so I'm sitting down watching it. And I'm like, what's going on? And I kind of look over and it caught my eye, and I kind of startled me for a second. So I'm like, I kind of appreciate the horror vibes that I got from that little sequence.
Well, and all the natural light in that house and everything white,
perfectly.
That black just pops.
It popped off.
So yeah, I was thinking the guy with NoHo Hank 2, kind of his assistant, but we've seen him before.
That's true. Yeah.
His name is Val, and I think he was the guy who talked to Hank after Cristobal was taken out. Like, sorry, Hank, we hoped we didn't have to come to this. Like, he was like the guy the Chechens left behind with him. And Hank is now so high up, he's just like his personal assistant that's there with him for everything. So he actually was there. Like, he wasn't just like spouting
He
crap.
was
He
there.
actually
He
was
was
there,
there.
but we weren't there. No, that's a different thing. Anyways,
Wow.
my favorite minor character, I wrote down Livewire and GrooveTube, because
Yeah,
the
that's cool.
second they hopped out of that Mustang, I was like, it's Livewire and GrooveTube. Felix is getting out of prison.
Dude, and I love the music they played. That freaking the anthem. I was like,
Oh
oh, this
yeah,
is pretty sweet, man. And every time they showed him, they had that beat to it. It's pretty cool.
yeah.
I was like, did Fuchs just become my favorite character? Yep.
The Barry relatable moment of the episode.
I think the funny moment is listening to podcasts, but trying to like, yeah, I don't agree with these guys. I'm gonna go find another podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't like this podcast either. I don't like what they're saying. Ah, yes, RV is Robin Williams. But yeah, I love this podcast. It has the same inside joke between me and Terry. Anyway, that was yeah, finding your perspective, that the perspective that you agree with and on your podcast. And I hope you agree with Almost Sideways' perspective. So by subscribing.
It's funny that we do that, because sometimes we need to hear opposing opinions sometimes. But
That is
yes,
true, yeah.
that's a good one. Or just simply trying to function with your headphones in, wandering around stores and stuff. That's another thing.
You're like, wait, what?
Yeah,
what?
yeah.
That's a good point.
The one I thought of was actually something you referenced a little earlier, when he pops his headphones out, because the whole idea of I'm required to do this.
That's a good point.
And had to show him the pictures so he could sell him the gun. What it made me think of was, as a teacher, having to give standardized tests. Like back when we were doing, like, you remember in school where you had to fill out the bubbles. Like, it's all computerized now, so it's different. But you had to fill the bubbles, and you had a little booklet, and it told you where to stop and all this stuff. Well, as a teacher, I had a book, and it said in that book, you have to read this word for word before every test, so that everyone that takes this test, they can say everyone got the exact same instructions and everyone got the exact same stuff, so they could compare everyone's scores to each other. And so this whole idea, I remember telling kids when I would do it, I'm like, I have to read this to you exactly how it goes. So here we go. And so I felt exactly the same as, oh, I have to show you these pictures. It was the same idea. I'm required to do this. Don't blame me.
That's a good thing. There's similar aspects of what I do too now. It's like, I know, I'm sure you already know this, but I got to show you where the fire extinguisher and the first aid kit on the trucks are. I'm like, it's right under your driver's seat, but I got to point them out. Like, it's like this very
check. All the boxes
I have to check all my boxes and go over all my, especially when I'm training. Like, I know you just got out of training, but how do you report an incident? I know I just talked to you like a couple months ago. How what's our following distance? Like, how do we determine that? Like,
yeah,
what's our stopping day? Like, it's all like the standard. Like, I'm like, he's like, and they're like, the drive. It's always the same like, answer. Really? I was like, I gotta do it. I gotta check off my box, please. Can I just? I don't like asking the same question. I know you know the answer. I've seen you do it all day, but I gotta ask it.
Yep.
Good stuff. That's a great one.
All right, LVP, MVP, and then we'll talk about what we think is happening next. My LVP, I've got two written down. My first LVP is Scott Bakula, because it's a horrible dad joke he tells on the answering machine. I can't come to the phone right now, but leave me a message and I will Scott Bakula. And I don't know why. All right, there's certain actors, you have this completely irrational hate for. And I'm sure Scott Bakula is a fine human being. I honestly haven't actually seen anything that I've had a problem with him in it. But I don't know. The sight of him just makes me feel like, oh, what's this guy doing here? So just the fact that Scott Bakula's name was brought up and it was that bad of a joke. I mean, normally I'm good with jokes, but LVP Scott Bakula.
That's a fascinating power rankings episode right there.
Irrational hatred. Number one on the list is probably Kevin Costner, which I still don't understand to this day.
Why you hate?
I hate Kevin Costner. I hate Kevin Costner.
Well, draft day was pretty horrible.
I never watched I never saw Draft Day.
No, you're not missing
Maybe
much.
because it had Kevin Costner in it.
Yeah, probably. Interesting.
What's your LVP? I'll let you go before I say my other one.
My LVP, actually, as we're thinking here, I think the ending being so convenient, actually, because as I'm thinking about it too, is why the hell did Gene leave that front door open? And he walked past it several times.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking like, why? I'm like, they haven't introduced one character. My wife's like, who? I'm like, Jim Moss. She's like, who? And then I was like, see? I knew it was a pretty telegraph that they were going to save him for the end.
I still want to know how he got out of the apartment.
Yeah, that's a good point, too.
Unless he just followed him for 8 freaking years and waited for him to step out of line. Was Jim the one that knocked on the door in the middle of the night in the last episode? Has Jim just been hanging out, torturing and tormenting him, waiting for him to step out of line? And the second he walks into another house with a gun in his hand, he's there.
I think another LVP thing is that he actually didn't kill his son. Like that was like, he's like, what did your son say? It was like, oh, they actually didn't kill him. They kind of cheated it. I felt like.
Yeah, I mean, if he ran without knowing what happened, just knowing that he shot him, how did Leo get out of there? There's no cell service. Did he find a way to unlock the door, open the door, get in, call 911? Or did Gene at least hang out long enough to know that he shot him and called 911 and ran? But that doesn't make any sense either if he ran because he thought it was Barry.
Yeah, and there maybe have to be some research to be done on this, but I'm pretty sure that Gene said he was from one place in the previous episode, and they changed it to where he was hiding at in this episode. I think it was 2 different places.
Yeah, he said Israel in this episode. In the last episode, I think he just said out of the country.
Okay, I thought it was like, I don't know, I have Costa Rica, but I don't know. That's probably not right. That's probably my memory on that.
Yeah,
but I'm kind of interested to see. I'm like, I think he said something different, but I don't know. But anyway, yeah, those
said out of the country, and I don't know why, but my brain thought Central South America also. Like I was thinking he was like in Brazil or something.
Because
like
of course you would.
Yeah.
That's where Edward Norton went.
My other LVP is NoHo Hank's house he gives to Fuchs, and here's why. It's a wonderful house. It's a beautiful house. It has the point de resistance of the Hawk's Nest. It has an infinity pool, but you know what it doesn't have? It doesn't have Fuchs's hot tub. There's an infinity pool, but Fuchs doesn't get a hot tub. Come on.
Did you say hot tub?
Like
yeah,
I wanted that has an infinity pool. Here's your hot tub. Did you just say hot tub? Like if we had gotten like just that moment there, like yeah, what about it? It's like nothing. It brings back a memory. That would have been a callback worth it. I would
well
say.
Played.
It's a good spot for a hot tub.
Good call.
Like even just that. Like here's the hot tub. It's a good spot for a hot tub. Just that much. But no, we didn't get it.
And then Groove Tube's like, did you say hot tub?
If Fuchs just say hot tub.
He's like, yeah, that's what he said, Groove.
All right, my MVP is the makers of Cristobal's statue because that's some damn good detail.
Wait, that was Groove. That was no Hank.
No. Whoever made Cristobal's statue.
Okay, yeah, I don't know why I heard said Hank, but
yeah, Cristobal's statue in NoHo Ball. That's some good. That's some good detail on that. I mean, some statues can be grotesque.
Kind of random. There's like no, like it's just sitting in the middle of the room. No, like not up on a pedestal, a little higher above everybody.
Co-founder of the company, he's got to honor him in some way.
Yeah,
especially when he was taken out by the rival gang.
Yeah, I did not kill him. It's a good one.
All right,
MVP.
What about you?
I got to go with the soundtrack. The theme music for Fuchs, man. I was like, Dun, 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 dun. I don't know the beat, but it's great. Like I love the music for that. Like his music, the whole scene, his entrance was like perfect. I couldn't think of it. Imagine a better intro back to the show than Fuchs.
Yeah. All right. What's next? We've got Barry and Jim together finally in the same room. We've got Hank and Fuchs. We've got Sally about to lose her marbles. Maybe already has.
All right, I have an idea. Gene left his door open because he knew Barry was following him, or Barry would show up. And when Jim caught him, Gene knew about it, and Gene's gonna show up in that confrontation with Gene and Barry, or Jim and Barry.
Still too convenient. I mean, it's possible.
It's super convenient, yes, but that'd be kind of cool.
The whole that whole thing happening is just bizarre. Yeah, something like that could happen. I don't know. I feel like I mean, we keep on talking about who's going to survive. I think the lowest odds of survival now are Sally. Like
Yeah,
I could see that being the one next episode where like the house burns down and she's passed out inside. Something like that.
How about John? Is he? Oh, what if John and Fuchs like meet up and Fuchs like mentors John?
Nah, it could happen.
Dude. Oh, I
Who
would.
are you? I'm the Raven.
I'm the Raven. I knew your father.
I knew your father back in the day.
It's nice.
It's weird. have you noticed Fuchs kind of has a little bit of a twang to him, but it's only there when he needs it.
Yeah, I kind of like the ending of it's Fuchs and John. Ooh.
Fuchs survives. I mean, Fuchs is a survivor. He's going to survive.
I don't
know if Hank is going to.
I don't think. I think there could be a confrontation between the Raven and Hank. Could be a confrontation between. I don't know. I think you need to have Barry and Hank have a final scene together.
You need to have Barry and Hank have a final scene. You need to have Barry and Fuchs. I think that's even more warranted than Barry and Hank.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know. I don't know if Hank makes it to Barry.
Oh, that would be sad.
They killed Cristobal. I mean, anything's possible at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what happened? I don't think Barry and Sally will see each other again. That's a possibility.
Yeah, that's a very distinct possibility.
Because who was the man in black? I think you're right.
I think it was all in her head.
Ooh. But now there's a big giant hole in the wall.
It was either Bevel from the diner, or it was all in her head.
She gets locked up in a mental facility, and John's taken by CPS.
Something's got to happen first, though.
That is true.
I don't know. Everything's kind of up in the air, and it's because they did this time jump, and now there's no momentum going in any direction. It's just all kind of flying in all directions all at the same time. And we have 1 hour left. 2 episodes to wrap this all up. And it's going to be crazy to watch, but I'm excited for it.
Me too.
I don't know what's going to happen, but this is going to be a fascinating end. Like I said, I still wish they hadn't done the time jump, but it's going to be a fascinating ending, even if it might not be the ending we were hoping for.
Yeah.
I'm still here for it. You're still here for it. Barry, coming down to the end. Any last words, Adam?
Bring it on. I'm pretty excited to see what happens. I'm nervous, but hopefully they stick the landing, because I compared this show to Dexter. I haven't done that comparison recently, but yeah, you gotta be better than Dexter. That's where we're going.
Dexter fell off a cliff at the end, but Dexter held on too long too. Like this
It
is
did.
this is trying to go out on top, which is good.
It's
And
true. Good
so
point.
yeah, it's setting up all the tension, and we'll see where it all goes in these final 2 episodes. Thank you guys so much for listening with us. We'll be back at you next week with the next episode of the Almost Sideshow. Make sure you keep up with Barry. And high five.
Yay!
Roasting like a toasted cheeser in here, Benny. It's so hot in this room right now.
Yes, that does work actually. Good call. Ended